Welcome to Talk Therapy Live. So glad that you can join me on this wonderful evening. My name is S. Candy Winfield, and I'm a licensed professional counselor and president of Suddenly Professional Counseling. Tonight on Talk Therapy Live, I'm switching it up a little bit because I'm going to have live studio guests. So, our topic tonight is from hustler to real estate mogul. And we have all had part one and a part two of our lives, right? Some of us even a part three, four, and five. Um, so it just kind of depends, right? But to go from part one to part two does require a mindset shift because you can change your surroundings, you can change your environment, you can change your circle of people, you can even change how you look and how you dress. But if you don't change your mind, you can end up with the same results. Because even the scripture tells us that be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. It also says, as a man thinks, so is he. So our thinking has to be right. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, how a mindset shift can make all of the difference. My guests tonight, Doug and Atiya Parson. They have been married for 25 years and together for 29 years. And together, they have made the transition from street hustler to real estate moguls. Mr. Parson is affectionately known and called the Celebrity Realtor. And he has been a top realtor in the Atlanta market for over 20 years and has sold millions of dollars in this market. He is the author of The Art of Flipping Bricks. And there you can see the cover of his book. It's a number one seller on Amazon. He is married to Atiya, and she is an educator. And she was inspired by watching her husband to also enter the real estate market. Together, they are creating the Flipping Academy, which has the goal, and this is so awesome, of changing the lives of people who would never typically think of getting into real estate or investing in real estate, such as hustlers, dancers, everyday people, and minorities. So, as they climb the ladder of success in real estate, challenges also came to their marriage. Mindsets and behaviors from the previous lifestyle kind of did not necessarily align with where they were. There were boundary issues, trust issues, and communication issues, all of which required that mindset shift. So, again, that's what our discussion is going to involve tonight, the mindset shift that the Parsons made through counseling and how it strengthened and fortified their mental relationship. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring to the broadcast Atiya Parson. Let's welcome them.
Hey, how you doing
Hello.
today?
All right. There we
Hello,
go.
hello. Good evening. Good
You got us.
evening.
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Thank
Welcome.
you.
Thank you for having us this evening.
So glad to have you tonight. Thank you for
Thank
joining me. Again,
Yes,
this is Doug and Atiya Parsons, real estate
yes.
moguls in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Welcome to the
Mhm.
broadcast.
Thank you.
excited to be here.
Glad to have you. And congratulations on your book being a number one bestseller on Amazon and also being available at walmart.com. As I was
Yeah,
listening to your book, the audio
yeah.
version, one of the things that you stated kind of early on is that early on for you, education was not a priority. You didn't think education or even value education. But as you
Right.
had your children and your sons, you made that mindset shift and realized, no, education is important. Can you tell me a little bit about that mindset shift that you made?
Absolutely. So, just me and my life, and the way I kind of came up, and me being a hustler and in the streets. In the beginning, I made a lot of money, and I didn't go to college and different stuff like that. But it was a totally different mindset that I was in. So, as I matured and got out of the hustling status, and started to do right, and then I also seen my wife going to school, graduating, even up to getting her doctorate. And it kind of was like I just felt like I owed my kids at least that to help them get to that degree, kind of like, so they wouldn't have to go out in the streets and hustle and just do different things. It would be a good base for them, to go to school, keep education first, and even graduate from college. And it's just very important, to your livelihood nowadays. Yeah.
And that's so true. And especially being married to an educator. I just thought that was so interesting that,
That's
It
right.
was.
at one point you didn't even value education and being married to a PhD educator.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of wild to me. You know what I'm saying? It really is to end up, because my oldest, between me and my oldest, he got an engineering degree,
Awesome.
and my one under him, he's in college right now. So it's just like, wow, you didn't really value education, but look how things ended up. Your wife, Dr. Parson, and your son's an engineer, and your kids are in college, and it's a blessing to be where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
It's a blessing.
It's a blessing, but then it's also just indicative of a shift that we kind of have to change our mind. We change our
Mm-hmm.
values.
Right.
So also going from a hustler to a husband, godly husband, to a
Yeah.
real estate mogul, what are some of the other areas that you had to make a mindset shift?
Uh, it's a big shift. Let me say that. Because along that comes with being a celebrity realtor and being a real estate mogul, it's a lot of you have to keep your eye on. You have to stay focused, because in the reality, ladies see that you're very successful, and that's what they're drawn to. So successful. On my way up, one thing I had to do was to learn to have boundaries, which we speak of all the
Mm-hmm.
time. So that's one thing, you got to learn your boundaries going up. I mean, it's a big change when you're in the streets. Like, it's like you look for women, so called, like you have different women, and as you change your life, like you got to change all that. Your whole mindset got to change, because well, the way mine is now, it's like I don't want to hurt. I would never want to hurt my wife. I just imagine how she would feel, in that situation. So that was a shift,
Mm.
you know.
And again, I think when I think about a hustler and how a hustler moves, they're very secretive.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily accountable to anyone. And
Mm-hmm.
they kind of have, I'm going to get you before you get me mentality. And
Right.
again, making that shift from that mindset to, again, a godly husband who is a provider, but
Yeah.
also, as you say, a protector,
Right.
a
Mm-hmm.
promise keeper, and a priest.
Okay.
Quite a big shift there.
Yeah.
And you cannot show up as a hustler and also be the promise keeper, the priest of your home,
Right.
the provider, and the protector.
Correct.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I remember one of your suddenly moments in counseling that was so, so powerful. And we were talking about um, Tia
Mm-hmm.
often kind of just got triggered by certain things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And she would tell you about it, and you would, well, that was not my intention. That's not what I meant. And you kind of would be very dismissive of how she
Mm-hmm.
felt and what she was experiencing. And I
Mm.
remember telling you that as a godly husband, one of the things that you are a protector of is her heart.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And so when she would bring something to you that affected her heart, that you couldn't be dismissive of it, that you had to kind of think about how do you protect her heart and how do you make sure that what she was feeling and experiencing could be eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when you, I guess when I said it like that, that really kind of allowed you to see it differently And that
Mm.
was a big mindset shift for you. Can you talk
Yes.
about that, Tia and Doug?
Yes. So I would definitely say because sometimes, when you're communicating with your spouse and you don't have another person that's involved to kind of bounce off how you're feeling and have that neutral person to be able to interject and give you opinions, it's kind of like I don't want to say it appears as being nagging, but it kind of goes on deaf ears. So I think the mind shift happened when you mentioned, protecting her heart, because that's something that I always talked about. That's something that's real big for me. Like, I need to feel safe and I need to feel that I'm protected at all times. And during one of our sessions, when you talked about what a woman really needs, is women, this is how women think. Women need their heart protected and they need to feel safe. So it was almost like that light bulb moment, because no, my wife wasn't just saying this all the time. That is something that's really true. And I think he's really started taking that into consideration more, and really just, making sure that his movements were moving about so that he was honoring those things and protecting my heart.
Right.
And I
So
think the other, go ahead, Doug.
yeah, so I know, like, say for instance, in my line of work, like, like I'm heavy on social media. So, it's a lot of people that reach out to me to be mentored, men, women, young men, young women. And so one of the issues we had was, like, me not even thinking about it. It's like sometimes it would be, and it's different people that I will help up to a certain point. So, when females, I might answer a question or two or something like that. But then a lot of times they will say, hey, well, I'll buy you lunch, or I'll do this, or can we meet for lunch, or I can talk to you for this many minutes. And it was like, before, I really didn't think anything of it. So at one time I went and she found out, it was nothing big. The female told her, hey, it was never my intentions, this, and that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. But the way I kind of looked at it and felt it was, she's in real estate. How about, if somebody said, hey, some guy, I want you to mentor me. And then she went to lunch with him and didn't tell me, well, that's how my perspective, that changes your perspective. Like when they literally say, put yourself in that person's shoes, like literally, like that's what it is. So now it's like, they still, a lot of people still want to be mentored, but like, if she ever sees anything, she's like, okay, like, don't you, you better not forget.
I'm like,
on it.
I'm like, don't forget what Miss Candy said,
yes.
that I'm supposed to be involved.
Right.
If it's a female, like, I can do some mentoring too. Like, we need to be fully transparent.
Right. So I got it.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, what are some of the boundaries you put in place to prevent that and make that kind of mentoring safe? Talk about that.
Well, the way that it's gonna have to be safe is, like, if they want to get mentored and we choose to mentor them, it's gonna have to be a together thing with the females. You know what I mean? So get ready, females, for Real Estate Blondie.
Get ready.
There you go. And I think I remember one of the other things was that you kind of put in place is sometimes you were meeting women in restaurants,
I mentioned
dinner time, lunch time. And if you think
time.
about that, again, sometimes a woman may be thinking, oh, that's a date. He's taking me to lunch, he's taking me to dinner.
Right.
And that's not your intention. Your intention was very pure.
Right.
But we also have to be mindful of how someone else may be seeing that or viewing that.
Right.
And so, again, putting those guardrails up where they can't even have the perception of this is something other than what it actually is.
Right.
Yeah. And so you put some of those boundaries in place to kind of help with that.
I did.
That's right.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit how your faith and spirituality also played a role in your mindset shift.
I would say when we started this journey, and I'll just kind of give everyone a quick background. There was nothing, major going on. I just felt like, hey, like, we need to go to counseling. Like, you hear people all the time, even that aren't having issues in their marriage, they go to counseling just to kind of keep it strengthened, to have that neutral person. So he was like, the only way I'm going to go is if I want to choose the person. So he chose you. And so, we just kind of rolled from there. And look, I forgot the rest of the question. Look, since I started talking
So
about that.
anyway, I said the only way I'm going to counseling, whether good or bad, is I'm going to get to pick the person.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my due diligence. I drug my feet in the beginning, and she just got on me, and I was like, you know what? Really, let me just see who I can find that I can just, at least from the outside, seem like they're a fair, just good person, just a good
Mm-hmm.
person. And you was the only one. It wasn't no second, third. I was like, nah, this is the one.
Right.
And we both love you to death. So it's great,
Mm-hmm.
it's great.
Now, what was the second part of the question? Because I
And
got sidetracked.
how your faith and spirituality kind of played a
Yes,
role. And I think
yes.
one of those things, you were looking for a Christian counselor.
Yes. And then also I told him one thing that was important that I wanted to do. I was like, we need to pray together. So on the journey along the way, when I was like, let's find someone, to talk to, I also want us to start praying. So, it's important to pray together. It's important to pray separately. And so one of my prayers is for God to always keep our marriage in a bubble so that nothing, keep us in a bubble, keep our marriage in a bubble so that nothing can interfere, because the devil
She always talks about this bubble.
always
Also.
talks about this bubble,
Yeah.
because the devil is real. And
Yes.
sometimes things,
Yeah.
we might think it's the intuition or think our gut is telling us something. It's really, sometimes the devil playing tricks on you. So really having that spiritual background. I always use the word faith and being faithful. And part of being faithful is just praying and letting it go, because you can't pray and then worry about it.
That's right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. We have viewers, and we have some comments. So let me go to the chat and see what some of our viewers. We have some hand claps. Pastor Victoria Burst is saying this is good.
Oh, thank
She
you.
agrees. So
Thank
yes,
you.
welcome. If you're viewing, put your name in the chat so that we know you're here, and we're so glad to have you. I want to ask, it was obvious to me from your book that one of your passions is kind of reaching back, pulling people up, bringing people along with you. And I think that's a part of, the Flipping Academy that you are establishing.
Right.
But in that reaching back and helping, and we've kind of talked about it a little bit, how did that kind of become a problem in the marital relationship? And what were some of the other problems that you had to address and eliminate to kind of be where you are?
Now, let me get this right. You said, as far as, what was the first part of the question? You said,
I talked about that your passion is to give back,
yes,
and to bring people up.
yes,
And I think from that, you're kind of establishing this Flipping Academy,
right,
which again is part of the mentoring, and
right,
again bringing in people who typically would not even be interested in real estate or think they could be
Right.
successful in real estate.
right.
And so again, if we're coming from and reaching street people, they're
Yeah.
bringing what? That mentality with them.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so you have to, help them again make that mindset
Mhm.
change, but at the same time, that can sometimes be a problem.
Right.
So my question was, how did that become a problem in the marital relationship?
I don't think we
If
have
it
a
did.
problem. Do we have a problem with that?
Well, I think it kind of goes along, not really a problem, but probably goes along with the boundaries.
Right.
Just making sure that, some of those same behaviors, don't show up in the present. So if anything, I would pretty much say that, and make sure that that foundation is established. Because again, like if you're dealing with you're not in the streets anymore, but you're dealing with people that have recently been in the streets and came from that, sometimes you can get sucked into going down that same path that they're going down. So just making sure that you have those boundaries in place so that you're not doing that.
Okay. And a lot of times I can feel when a female or a woman has like not the right intentions, and they might reach out to me 1,000 times, and I just don't even respond. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I try to stay away from that.
And it's so important to again have those guardrails up and to be attentive, but also discerning.
I call them
Because
blinders. You know how
okay,
horse wear blinders
Oh,
yes,
Lord.
like
yeah,
this? So I always
narrow vision.
I tell my
Right.
friends, you know, that's young in their marriage, and I'm just saying it's not that I've been perfect and had the best marriage. It's been a great marriage, but like I tell those guys, those young guys, to keep your blinders on, man. And they laugh, but they know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's what we
Okay,
call it, keeping the
Mhm.
blinders on.
absolutely.
Right.
Atia, I have a question for you.
Okay.
There were things from the previous lifestyle that had created triggers for you,
Hmm.
and you had to learn not to be triggered. Can you talk about a little bit about what that process was for you?
I would say the process for me to not feel triggered is for me, I ask a lot of questions. And if things don't add up, if things aren't consistent,
I'm sorry.
then it'll start making me feel like, hold on a second, like what's going on? So one of my things that I deal with to not try to have any triggers is asking all the questions that I have, just so that I can understand the scenario, just so that I can understand the big picture, to make sure that, hey, yeah, this was what he told me it was. So one
Mhm.
of the things he does now, he's like, he would say, I'm gonna let you get all your questions out. Anything that you want to ask me right now. Because after we talk about this, I don't want his thing. I don't want her chopping and relishing up.
Relishes. She
That's what,
relishes.
right.
Like if you tell her the color's green, she's gonna ask you, okay, so what two colors did it take to make the green? You know?
Or what shade of green are we talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a serious conversation, but it's just funny because like we made it this far, and like I know what the triggers are for her and just different things. So it feels good to be able
Right.
to sit back and like
Right. So like when I call you, like if he's out of town, if I call you, make sure that you're answering, because for me, like one of those things is, if I call you,
if
you
my
don't
phone
answer,
is dead.
like my mind will start going like, what are you doing? Like, why didn't you answer? Blah, blah, blah. So, and that's something that, we've been together for so long that it just takes time to work on, and just knowing that, you just can't jump all of a sudden because he didn't answer his phone and just automatically think that,
Right.
something's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. If my
Hmm.
phone is dead, I'm dead.
Make sure you have several chargers.
And at the same time, it goes back to that communication.
Right.
Because
Yes.
again, coming from the streets, you don't answer questions. Why
Right.
are you even asking me those
Right.
Right.
questions?
Right.
And so the shift also is that knowing that sometimes you have to answer the questions,
Hmm.
Yeah.
but you
Right.
put a boundary around the questions. Sounds like,
Right.
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 Like it
but
has to
again, it's about protecting the heart, right?
Hmm.
And
right.
that answering those questions is a protective layer for her heart. And so it's
Right.
necessary to answer the questions. That's good.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Right.
Elizabeth Foss says, I love this video. It is so real.
Oh, that's
Hey,
my mom. Hey, thanks, mom.
hey, Mama
Awesome.
Cakes.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, what were some of the other ways you both created emotional safety in the marital relationship?
What would you say? Emotional safety. What?
Emotional safety.
Hmm.
Answering questions is one.
Answering questions is
Answering the
Well,
definitely
question.
one.
yeah. So I just feel like, hey, if I'm gonna answer all your questions, but I just don't want you to keep coming back and just keep asking them. So,
Hmm.
what would you
So that
say?
I would say that's definitely one. Um, Answering questions. Just actions matching up with your words. So that's something that he's real good about doing now. So just because a lot of times the actions speak louder than words. So you can say
Mhm.
something, but are your actions matching that? So
Right.
I think
Yes.
that's another thing, to protect that emotional safety.
Mhm.
And just women love hearing, like, I'm so glad I'm married to you. And I mean, he's constantly like bragging on me,
Hey.
Mm.
so that feels great too. That's all part of protecting my heart. And that just makes you feel like, okay, this is safe. This marriage is safe,
And then I broadcast our marriage and our togetherness. I mean, if you like, when I go out now, I was telling her that the other day. So now when I go out and I see people, a lot of people, and they like, hey, what's going on, man? Where's Blondie at? If she not with me, you know what I'm saying? So they already like they already know.
expect to see her.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, they definitely
Mhm.
expect to see her.
And that's so powerful that, again, your career is in education, been an educator for 20 plus years.
Right.
But because of the relationship and because you said you were so inspired that you entered into real
Yes.
estate yourself. So now you do this together.
Right.
Yes.
And
We
it's
do.
And
fun.
so that's a safeguard in terms
It
of the
is.
marital relationship that
That
you're a
Right.
part of
definitely
it.
is.
So there's
Right.
things, like you said, even the mentoring sometimes. He doesn't have to always be the one mentoring, that you can be
Right.
the mentor.
Right.
Right.
And so that's very, very powerful how you have joined together also, in terms of your career and in the field of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is. And it happened at the perfect time because I've been trying to get her over into real estate
Woo.
for so many years,
Yes.
and it just like she came over at the right time. Like the kids was leaving the house and she's
Mm-hmm.
entering like the last few years of her
Teaching
career,
career.
teaching
Mm-hmm.
career. And it's like we really taking off, like, and it's really some big things going on, in our lives right now that's going to catapult us to, I mean, just to astronomical
Other
areas.
levels. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
We
Mm-hmm.
super blessed and we can enjoy,
Right.
we can enjoy this. So it's
Right.
exciting.
And I think it's also helped with me being in real estate and us working so close together. I think it's helped with the communication because, like, if we have a disagreement, like it might be a day, it's like the energy's off. But now he's like, you know what? We work together. We're doing this. We're doing that. Like we got to make sure that our energy is right. And if we
Right.
have a disagreement about something, make sure that we're talking about it immediately, so that we're not walking around feeling some kind of way. So
Yeah.
yes,
Awesome.
Especially
Mhm.
like when you got to do interviews and stuff like that.
Right.
That is like, I'm like,
Right,
baby, like, I can't fake it. So like on the
right,
interview days, especially, you cannot be going through. You can't be
right.
going through nothing, and it's like that
Mhm.
kind of keep you straight too. Like you can't afford, literally
Right,
cannot afford to be
right.
going through
That's
nothing.
right.
Like
Because
that's
it,
not.
it comes through. People can tell
Yeah.
the energy is off. She must be mad. He must be mad. So you're
Right,
Right.
absolutely right. It kind of causes you to resolve issues and not to
Yeah.
right,
allow them to linger.
right.
It do.
And
Exactly.
goes back to your communication, goes back to your
Mhm.
trust.
Right.
Mhm.
I want to kind of close with you talking about your flipping academy that you're working to establish. Tell us a little bit about that and talk about your book.
Okay, so I'll talk about the book first. My book, of course, is called The Art of Flipping Bricks. I did the book that I actually could reach back and help a lot of the hustlers, a lot of the people who have like even I'm looking for the people who they may have lost a parent or a grandparent or anybody close to them, and they may have got $30,000 or $40,000. When they died, they may have left them some money, and they just don't know what to do with it for the life of them. Like I can show them what to do with it. I've put it in the layman's terms so people can really understand it. I felt like that God chose me to be the one to reach back to help a lot of these people. I just feel like I look like the people that I'm trying to help, and they really can resonate with me and really see their self in me and be like, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. Now, as far as the academy, we definitely trying to put that together. We're really trying to get it all boxed up. I can't tell you how much money that we're talking about this. So I can't tell you how much money I'm losing by not having the academy ready. Because I get calls. I can go to my back page right now and just start scrolling for these people. And we've been searching out different companies to put it all together for us. And that's what we're working on. It's going to be very lucrative, but it's also going to touch a lot of people that wouldn't normally be touched.
Right. And I still have that passion for educating, teaching. So my role will be to teach and educate new realtors and new realtors getting into the field and people that want to flip. So I'll have the educational side.
Right.
Yes. And so again, the marriage of the two careers is just going to, again, catapult this to a whole nother level. That's
Yes.
Yeah,
awesome. That's
it
awesome.
definitely is.
I
It
want to
is.
put your social media handles in the chat for those that would like to kind of follow up with you.
Okay.
You have a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right?
Digs
Yes.
with Doug.
Okay, and then also your Instagram handle I have put in the chat for those that
Okay.
are
Okay,
interested.
great. And I would definitely want to encourage people to reach out and follow. You know, you definitely can be on my page as well as Blondie's page, and
Hmm.
you can see us literally flipping houses, literally getting our hands
Yeah.
dirty. I think if you go there now, you might see some stuff we did last night. You know, so
And fussing.
well, we
Yeah, because he likes to get in my lane a lot. Come trying to see what I'm
I'm
doing in the
I'm
homes.
trying to show her something. I'm trying to show her how to fish. But sometimes she thinks she's the big fisherman.
That's right.
So we have fun, you know, it's all in fun, you know.
Hmm.
You know, we just play around and we have a good time and we get to make a little money and bless a few people, you know, while we do it. So, you know, I just thank God that we're in this position at this point in our
Hmm.
lives.
Yes.
Well,
Absolutely.
let's ask our viewers, do they have any questions for you?
Okay.
Yeah,
Monique says this is some good stuff.
Thank you.
appreciate it, Monique.
And if anyone has any questions, please put it in the chat. Let me look over here at YouTube. Let's
Hmm.
see if there's any questions over here.
Hmm.
We are streaming to Facebook and YouTube.
Hmm.
Okay.
Um,
But we also on Facebook, Douglas Parson, Atiya Parson
Hmm.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So again, follow you all, and you're doing some wonderful things, making differences in people's lives, and there's been a
Hmm.
difference in your life. And so I know you're going to continue to be blessed. I want to thank you
Yes.
so much for joining me tonight and being a part of Talk Therapy
Thank
Live.
you.
We want
Let's
to thank you for having us.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Definitely.
Let's see. Looks like no questions. Oh, yes. What is the link to order the book?
The link to
The
order.
book is on Amazon. Is there a link? I think if you could just go to Amazon and
Hmm.
let me put the title back up so people can
Right.
see it.
Yep.
Uh, the
There it
Yeah.
title
is.
There it
is
is.
The Art of Flipping Bricks by Douglas
Mhm.
Parson Jr.
Hmm.
Amazon. And also,
on
while you're
Amazon.
on Amazon, also I have the audio book. You can go to Audible. It's $5.99. It's great. I mean, it's really got some great music on it. Of course, I got everybody that's in the book, except for maybe one person speaking on it.
Hmm.
So definitely go check that out. That's a great deal.
Yeah, and the audio is on Amazon because that's where I purchased it from.
Uh-huh.
It's on
Yeah, so you can
Amazon.
also get the audio book on Amazon.
Hmm.
It's a great listen.
Yeah.
Doesn't take a whole lot of time. I think it's like maybe 90 minutes and you get through the
Yeah,
Hmm.
whole book.
yeah,
Right.
You hear Doug and you hear Atiya in the
yeah.
next
Yes.
chapter as well. And it's great practical information because even listening myself, I learned some things. And you
Good.
Hmm.
really do walk people through what they need to know
Right.
and be mindful of, particularly some of the traps that you're not necessarily thinking about if you want to go into this market.
Right.
Right.
And so
Hmm.
I know the academy is going to be awesome.
It
It
is.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
Because, you have hands-on, you have mentors, you're doing it. So
Right.
Right.
it's not
Thank
like
you.
you're trying to teach
Yes.
somebody something that you have not done. So
Yeah.
you be
Exactly.
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's see some of the comments. I'm sharing this information with my family. This is great.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wonderful.
Magic
Thank
in
you.
the air. So again, I want to just kind of close out and thank you all for taking the time for being with me tonight
All
and
right.
talking about, again, the mindset shift that you were
Hmm.
able to make through counseling.
Yes.
I
Definitely.
Hmm.
appreciate it. And just through life.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. Hmm.
So thank you again so much for joining me, and
Thank
I will
you.
see you soon.
All
Okay.
right.
Bye.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
And so again, thank you viewers for joining me tonight. I am S. Candy Winfield, a couples counselor. And, if you are interested in counseling, you can contact me I am in Atlanta, Georgia, but I work virtually, so you don't have to be in Atlanta to receive counseling. My number is, I'll put that on the screen as well, 678-532-9760. I work with couple. If you call and mention the couple special, I'll give you a special rate. Uh, just so that you are aware, I have some upcoming lives in May. May is Mental Health Month. So I am going to be addressing some of those very, very serious mental health issues. One of my broadcasts is going to deal with bipolar disorder, and I am going to have someone who has uh, kind of been on both ends of bipolar when it was unmanageable and out of control. And now she is very well managing her disorder and it's not disrupting her life anymore. The second topic that I'm going to address and have a guest is going to be suicide. As you probably are aware, suicide is really affecting the African American community, particularly African American males. So I'm going to be having someone who has had a family member who took their life through suicide. And we're just going to kind of talk about some of those topics that we need to talk about in our community and that we need to address and be aware of and not allow them to, again, be disruptive to our life, but being able to manage mental health issues, mental health disorders, so that you can lead a productive life. So, looking forward to May. Stay tuned. Please subscribe to my channel so that you get notifications of the best. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. On you soon. Bye bye.